How long does it take a piece of Elodea Densa, Elodea Densa, Elodea Densa, Ancharis Densa, to actually double its size in growth? Hi everybody, welcome again to another episode of Fish Keeping Jamaica. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so for the next 30 days, what I'll be doing, I will share with you a piece of work that I've been working on academically. I'm going to be taking out a piece of Elodea Densa out of one of my ponds, and I am actually going to be observing its growth within the next 30 days. Stay tuned. So this is day 4. Looking at the Elodea Densa, how quick it goes. You notice there are about 2 mosquito fish in it, and a baby. The original one in that I had actually placed within the jar. Seems as if it's actually jumped out of the jar. I don't know where it is right now, so I just put this little thing over it to prevent the rest from jumping. Right now I have not placed any flakes in this jar, and that's not the reason why they jump. It's just that the water is too high, and you know, they're probably just wondering where they are at. But mosquito fish do jump, right? So I'm gonna feed them, and this is day 4. And if you notice, the size of the growth have actually doubled within 3-4 days. This was not the size in which was originally placed in it. So we continue to watch it for the next 30 days to see how much this Elodea Densa plant actually grow when exposed to natural elements, and when actually within a space you know, that is free from all abnormalities. So stay tuned. This is day number 4. Okay, so this is day 8. This is how the Elodea Densa look. I'm going to change the water in the bottle, and I think of the 3 fish that's supposed to be in it, I've only seen like 1 swimming. I think 2 died. That's understandable. It's a small space and they are aggressive, especially to each other. So 2 died and 1 is alive here. I'm going to change the water. This is some water that I got from one of my old ponds, well, one of my ponds that established water, so I don't have any problem with you know, changing the water. Alright, so I'm going to throw all of this into an empty container, and then I'm going to rinse it out a little bit. That's this. I'm going to place fresh water in it, place back the plant in it, and as you can see, after 8 days, this is how the growth have actually looked. So it has grown from an average of about 2 inches to an average of about probably about 3.5 inches within 8 days. Alright, so let's see what it actually looks like when I take it out of the glass bottle in a bit. Alright, so I'm going to be throwing the water in a container. I'm going to be rinsing out this container. I'll get back to you. Container is now rinsed. and I'm going to be placing fresh water in it. Remember, the aim of this project is to check to see the growth rate of the Elodea Densa in 30 days, right? So the water is being replaced, and just tempting now to just forget about the fish and just let the Elodea Densa stay in it by itself. Alright, so the Elodea Densa, this is it so far, guys. If you can drag your memory back to the piece that I got, it was about here, and it have actually grown roughly, it have actually doubled in size. Alright, so I'm going to be placing back the plant in here, and I'm going to look to see if I see any fish alive. Yes, there's one. I had 3, I only see 1. I'm going to take out this one. I'm going to try to catch it with my hand. I'm successful. Alright, so it's there, and for the next couple of days I'll be watching it. Yes, I do feed the fish, but right now I'm checking on the water. I want to ensure that the fish is in a healthy environment. Elodea Densa is growing a lot, and I'm going to be probably doing the same experiment with a hornwort to see how fast it grows in 30 days. So this is the same piece of Elodea Densa I took out of the pond that I shared with you from the initial outset of this project. So let's see what happens in the next 7 days to see if this Elodea Densa plant will actually double in size. Okay, so this is observation day number 15. I'm looking at the Elodea Densa plant. Yes, the one single mosquito fish is still alive, but as you can see, the plant have actually more than doubled in height, well, in length. Right, it is a little bit covered with algae, right? So algae is within the water. I do change water. Well, the last time I changed water, I shared with you that, right? I'm gonna allow it to stay there for next 15 days to see how large it will get. Now this is just a sample as to how the Elodea Densa plant actually behaves in the wild. Right now, if it's in 15 days, it more than doubles its size. Right? Can you imagine Elodea Densa in the wild, you know, unperturbed, unprovoked, no, you know, creature actually consuming it? How this plant can become, you know, a little bit more wild on the wild side. You know, we see. So this is update for date number 15. I know this is a I call it now several days, but I'm trying to give you updates periodically on the plant of this Elodea Densa, on the growth of this Elodea Densa. Alright, so in starting the project, what I should have done is to actually use the ruler as a means of measuring the growth. It actually slipped me, but now after 21 days, and you have actually seen through observation the size in which the growth rate in which the Elodea Densa have actually grown over the past 21 days. You see, well, you have seen that this piece of Elodea Densa started off at probably about 1.5 inches, right? Within 21 days, it actually tripled its size. Now, after 21 days, I never remember to measure on the ruler, but I'm doing it now. It is, so I still have 9 days left, right? Okay, and this is the same piece of Elodea Densa. No camera trick here. And you could say that this measures roughly 7 inches, right? 7 inches. So let's see how much it will actually grow within the next 7 days, which should be the end of this exercise. Alright, so I keep you up to date, the 21st date, so we see what happened. This is 30 days exactly since I've had this Elodea Densa into this jar. I started out with about probably about a 1 inch, 2 inch max. Elodea Densa. I'm taking it out of the bowl, out of the thing now. The last time I measured it, which was 21 days, well, it was 7 days ago, it measured roughly 7 inches, remember? Alright, so today I'm measuring it. This is the ruler, right? So within 1 week, guys, within 1 week, so this is 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5, 6, 7. It measured 7 inches last week, right? And now it's a different week. Yeah, it's at the end, right? And it's measuring 9 inches, guys. That means between last week, in which I actually measured and shared with you how much it measured, which was 7 inches, it actually grew an additional 2 inches with 7 days. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be pinching this piece at the top, right? Notice it doesn't have on any root, right? I'm going to check to see how much it actually measures, right? It measures roughly 2.5 inches, right? And remember, this was the Elodea Densa was actually floating in the water, right? So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be placing this Elodea Densa into a small pond in which I have at the side of my house. But I'm going to, instead of having it floating, I'm going to be placing it in the soil itself that is in the pond, right? The aim of this is to see within 1 week the Elodea Densa grew 2 inches, right? Within 1 week the Elodea Densa grew 2 inches. So I'm going to see, and that's just floating in the water. So I am going to see, I'm trying to see whether, and this is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to see, I'm going to be checking in the next 7 days to see how much inches this Elodea Densa plant actually grew over the 7 days in which it's in here, right? I think there's a chromite cichlid somewhere in the pond. Yeah, there is it, right? Right, there's a chromite cichlid here in the pond. Like some plants that you know, when they actually protrude out of the water, they actually remain green. Elodea Densa is somewhat different. Now this is a piece of the Elodea Densa that is grown within this small container at the side of my house, right? And as you can see at the top, there's a protrusion of piece, probably about 1/2 inches from the water upward. And if you look at it good, you realize that it is actually drying up, guys. And that's primarily because it needs to be submerged in water to actually remain green and alive. Alright, so I'm going to be placing back this I call it mosquito fish back into the space in which it was, rinsing out the container, and we're going to sit and wait 7 days to see the growth rate of the Elodea Densa 2.5 inches plant within soil, within the space, right? So you might be asking, so what's the purpose of doing all of this? Now remember, this is a research, right? And what we're looking at Elodea Densa plant, you know, the impact it has on the environment, the growth rate, and you know, practically it's one of the most dangerous plants kept in aquarium. If you actually left a piece, well, leave a piece within your aquarium space and go on vacation, like for about 3 or 4 weeks, right? When you come back, you have to be very careful and mindful that this plant might actually take over your aquarium and your fish stock might be dead. What I realize is that tilapia tend to consume the Elodea Densa leaves, right? So all of this tilapia, right? Yeah, all of this tilapia have actually consumed the leaves, right? You see, they are like up to the finer parts. But what I realize is that this is hornwort, and they are not too loving hornwort, right? So they would leave this alone. The Elodea Densa actually floats up and down depending on the temperature and the lighting. Here's another Elodea Densa plant. And this mostly happened with juvenile juvenile tilapia. Now this video that I am actually doing, so far it's an average of probably about 32 days since I'm actually doing the filming on this video, and it will come to an end probably about the next 2 weeks or so, after I've actually explored all different facets on Elodea Densa. I hope that you will actually appreciate the much work put in, research done with this plant. Trying to share with you evidence-based material on this plant. Alright, so we sit here and wait for the next 7 days to see what happened with that plant planted in the soil. Okay, so this is a piece of hornwort that I got out of one of my plants, and this is the ruler, and the ruler is saying that this is roughly 3.5 inches in length, right? I'm going to leave this. I'm not going to go as far as 30 days, but I'm going to leave this in this space. I'm not going to put any fish in it. I'm going to leave it in this space for 7 days, and to see whether or not hornwort actually, well, the Elodea Densa go 2 inches within 1 week. So I am just trying to check to see whether or not the Elodea Densa go as fast as the, well, if the hornwort go as fast as the Elodea Densa. So we sit and we wait. So next 7 days is a lot to actually reveal, and we watch and we wait. Alright, this is a normal stream that is used by individuals. Let's say on a Sunday. They will do some swimming. Right. So this is the plant, right? But they have actually cleaned up here so as to make it available for persons to swim. Right. I have shared with you several videos within this space. This is where the mosquito fish actually, well, I caught some from it, right? This is algae. Right now, for this to be a space that is used for swimming on a regular basis, individuals will have to be cutting these plants, because within a week these plants would actually populate the, well, should I say, overgrow the entire space. Right, so this is where the I have filmed a few videos on what you call it, the goby fish. Alright, it's a little bit messy, alright, but in the water is very clean, and that's this side. The water is very clean, and as you can see over on that side, you see a lot of Elodea Densa. It is left so that the fish within the space can actually have a space in which they can have, to hide. But there's a lot of fish right within this space. I'm going to be stopping at another location, so we'll see about that. Right? So I am still searching for wild Elodea Densa, Enchardis, Elogera, whatever you pronounce it as. The stop that I made a while ago, persons are there swimming, and it's it's impolite to actually film while persons are swimming. So I just did a little piece there, and I'm on my way to another location. This location now, no one swims there. They mostly do fishing there. And another location, so that's two locations I'm gonna stop. One in which they normally do domestic chores like wash the clothes, and another one they normally do fishing. So we'll see what happens at that location. Alright, but I can tell you that over in these spaces there's a lot of Elodea Densa, and if you have not noticed by now, Elodea Densa doesn't go above the water. Once it reaches the top of the water and the water level goes down, whatever is at the top of the water, it's either the entire plant sinks, or the plant at the top, it starts to dry up. So it needs water, full submersion into water to survive. It's not like the plants that you will have and you start to grow in the water and then they come out of the water. Elodea Densa and Charlie's Elodea, or whatever you call it. Let's call it Elodea Densa for the time being. It will actually die, at least the piece that is coming out of the water. So it's not like this plant, because entire space over there that you are looking at right now, with all these tall grass, is a river, and the plants are actually going out of the river, right? So the river is beside the road, right? So we'll see what happen. Yeah, we'll see what happen as we go along. So this is another location. I haven't been here for a long while, right? In Jamaica, Elodea Densa is referred to as waterweed, right? Beneath this space, right, this is an old plant, an old sugar plantation, I call it now. They usually suck the water up from this space and carry it over to the sugar space, right? So you have, I don't have my underwater camera with me right now, but beneath this water you have a lot of Elodea Densa plants growing, and you have some mosquito fish, and you have some other fish such as jaguar cichlids within the space, right? As you can see, the entire space, it has a lot of vegetation coming out of the water. Elodea Densa don't grow like this, right? Elodea Densa, it has to be submerged in the water itself. So beneath this space, they normally fish right here, but it's been a while since they have actually cleaned it up. All of this right here is a river, and all of this vegetation within the river, and fish is within the river, right? And Elodea Densa is in the river, and you can see some amount of Elodea Densa right here. Right, look between the twigs, you might see some Elodea Densa, right? Those Elodea Densa will not go up out of the water like the other plants. They will stay in the water, and if by any chance the water level drops, you'll see those Elodea Densa that's right there, right? It will become brown, and if the water level doesn't increase in the near future, it will actually get brown, dry, and die exactly to the spot where it comes up out of the water. So this is a prime breeding ground for fish, and persons tend to fish here, but it's a little bit difficult for them to do that right now because there haven't been any much cleaning. Oh, by the way, crocodiles do live in these water spaces. So yeah, let's go to another space. This space, they actually do what you call domestic chore, wash clothes and bathe and all that. Let's go over by that side. Okay, people drink it. Okay, so here I'm at the location where I said that persons normally do domestic chores, right? Like wash. Some persons catch the water to carry home to do domestic chores, right? Now this water is what you call it now. It is It is a river. It is, you can see the spring, right? The spring running from underneath the road, right? I have done several videos on this piece, right? I am gonna try and see if I can go inside a little bit. I never intend for my feet to get wet, but I'm gonna go in, right? Just to share with you what I'm talking about regarding the Elodea Densa. Alright, so Elodea Densa is a submersible plant, right? It can be invasive. It can cause a lot of problems within the ecosystem. However, the fish within the ecosystem actually use it as a breeding ground, and it actually use it as a hiding space from predators. Now, as you can see right here, these are Elodea Densa, right? And on it, I can bet you that there are a lot of snails, and there are a lot of organisms that exist within the river, right? Periodically, individuals will come and they would actually they will cut it, because the water, as you can see, is very clean, very clear, and as shared with I call it a citizen of this space, that some persons actually drink it. Now these, as I shared with you before, Elodea Densa, right? The entire space is filled with Elodea Densa. Wow, and I see some amount of hornwort here, right? Yeah, see some amount of hornwort, right? but I don't really want none. I'm just sharing with you about them, right? As I said, they are habitats for fish to actually survive, to actually live, right? Now, this plant, if left unchecked, that means nobody comes and cut it, it will end up grow. Here you have some fish on the top, right? You have some fish, mosquito fish. These look like babies, right? They will actually stay within the Elodea Densa until they get a little bit bigger. Then they will actually venture out into the larger space within the water. Guys, I'm wetting my foot and I never plan to wet my foot. But Elodea Densa is, it can be a good plant if you leave it unchecked within your aquarium or within your aquatic space. It can be a problem, right? It can survive by just floating in the water, and wherever it gets a footing, it will actually dig its way into the soil substrate. It will you'll see roots coming up, and it will start to grow. Now, the experiment in which I shared with you regarding how fast it grows floating, I shared that within 30 days it actually grew from about 1-2 inch max to 7 inches, right? And I am about to share with you now all of this right here. So guys, are the top of Elodea Densa. As I said before, they don't protrude outside of the water. All that goes straight down Elodea Densa, right? So individuals will come periodically with their machetes and the bags, and these are crab holes, right? Crabs actually go in these holes, right, and they actually go in the water to venture out. Wow, that's a big fish, right? So the different fish actually use this as a sanctuary to do some amount of breeding. There's a lot of algae here because as I've shared in several of my videos, that we actually experienced a lot of heat recently, and this heat have inspired the growth of, wow, that looks like a Jack Dempsey. Wow, it's so huge and colorful. There's a fish right there, but I guess you won't be able to see it. It's right there, colorful blue fish. But there are several fish here, and they use the covering of the Elodea Densa so as to hunt, so as to breed, so as to hide, so as to live, right? So Elodea Densa, while it's good, it can be bad. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my project now to see how much the Elodea Densa have actually grown that I've planted in the substrate, and I'm going to be looking at the hornwort. I did not do the hornwort for 30 days, I just did it for 7 days. I'm going to be measuring to see whether or not it have actually grown beyond the 2.5 inches that I originally placed it in the space, right? So let's go and let's see what's happening. Yeah, kind of look messy, but when the people are ready in the space, they come out and they actually do some cleaning, so it looks really nice. But I think they clean from about here to about that space, and then now they would wash and they would catch water right here from the spring, and they would use that water, and the rest of it they use it for bathing, washing cars, washing clothes, and all that. Okay, so let's get back to the project at home. Yeah. So the last 7 days I placed 2.5 inches hornwort within the same bottle that I had the Elodea Densa in. I initially started this little project using with the Elodea, with this, right, the hornwort, with no mosquito fish. But after about 2 or 3 days, I saw some mosquito riddlers in this, so I placed a mosquito fish in it. This is the last day of this experiment. This piece of hornwort was placed in the bottle for 7 days, and as I shared with you before with the Elodea Densa, within 1 week, within 1 week, the Elodea Densa actually doubled its size. Hornwort, when I placed it in the bottle 7 days ago, it measured 3.5 inches in length. Today it's, yeah, ruler might be different but measurement is the same. It's measuring just a little bit, less than quarter of an inch in thickness, should I say, in growth, right? So this does point to the fact that hornwort goes much slower than Elodea Densa. Hornwort is safe within your aquarium when going for vacation, but Elodea Densa, that's a different thing. So I'm going to be placing this into my small tub at the side where it will stay and it will actually grow, right? Okay, so let's continue with the process. Chances are within a month or two it will actually fill the space, just like how the Elodea Densa have been filling different aquatic space within my yard. Okay, so the next experiment I did was to actually plant a piece of Elodea Densa. I'm trying to hold the phone meanwhile I'm actually recording. Alright, I'm trying to. And by the way, once I stuck this in it 7 days ago, I did not take it out. So I'm taking it out for the first time now. It's a little bit more difficult. Wow, it popped. It popped, guys. But anyway, I wanted to actually take it out of the space, but it refused to come out. And one of the reasons why it refused to come out is, if you look at it good, you will see this white string hanging out at the side. Elodea Densa do have roots when they are actually within the substrate, whether it be sand, gravel, or dirt. And this is the Elodea Densa that I planted within the substrate laden pond, small pond I had at the side of my house. Alright, I placed this in the pond at about probably 2.5 inches also within that space. Now let's check to see. I'm not using the roots because the roots actually go down, right? I'm checking to see how much it have actually grown up. And so it was in the soil, and this is just for 7 days, guys. It was in the soil for 7 days, and I can see it clearly, categorically, guys. And you can see the evidence on the ruler that within 7 days that the Elodea Densa actually grew roughly 2.5 inches from 6 inches. That would be 3.5 inches in length. Yeah, it have actually grown 3.5 inches in length, and by my calculation this is more in growth than if it was actually floating on the top. And so Elodea Densa do grow more when it's floating on the top. Now Elodea Densa do have some amount of roots within the substrate. You know, it finds its way in the substrate, and it spreads out itself, and it's difficult for you to actually extract it from the space without popping some of the roots. And that's what happened here. The root was actually in the substrate, and as you can see on it, there's some amount of dirt, right? Yeah, and this root is a little bit more thicker in structure than the roots of the floating Elodea Densa. Yes, floating Elodea Densa do have some amount of root, but it's not as firm as the ones that are actually planted. The roots that are floating are actually searching for substrate, or I call it, yeah, substrate, to actually plant itself in. And eventually what will happen, if they are substrate, it will anchor itself into the substrate and starts to feed off the nutrients that exist within the substrate. For those that are not like anchored into the substrate, it will continue to grow, and it will actually feed on the nutrients that exist within the water, floating throughout the water space. And so as I bring this this exercise to an end, right, yeah, this is what I took out and I planted in the substrate last week. As I bring this exercise to an end, there are several takeaways from you know, using these plants within aquatic space. One, if you are actually going on vacation and you have some of these plants within your aquarium, you have to be very careful. You might just return home to see the entire space filled with this plant, whereas if it is actually planted, it goes really fast. You might see your aquarium filled with this plant, and your fish actually having limited space, being stressed, and probably dying as a result of this entire space being taken over by Elodea Densa and Charlies, right? Elodea Densa, that's popularly known. In addition, also the swimming space, the Elodea Densa, it does not protrude above the water, and so as much as you might see it's floating on top of the water, right? It will not protrude out of the water naturally. It's as a result of me actually messing around this space that you see some of the plants actually protruding. But if left unchecked for a while outside of the water, the plant itself will become brown, and it will actually die, right? And then there's both the floating and one that is anchored within the substrate. They do have roots, right? And the roots tend to search for substrate to plant itself, to anchor itself, because it actually grows faster when it is submerged within when it is anchored within the substrate, right? I know that this is a long piece, but I went all out so as to get information and to use life experience and to use what have actually been observed in the wild so as to put this video together. Alright, so another thing which I've learned from this plant is that this plant is a normal plant to, within the wild in Jamaica, and it is used as a means of what I call it now, breeding for small fish to hide, and it also used as a habitat for other fish and for predators also. Predators will actually lurk within the water space amongst the vegetation, which is normally encharides, call it Elodea Densa, right, plant, and actually catch their prey, right? It is a plant that is very easy to manage. I think it's more easier than the hornwort. The hornwort will actually I did a video on that before. The hornwort actually grows the same rate as the Elodea Densa. The hornwort also floats, and it also anchors itself within the substrate. However, in comparative to the hornwort, Elodea Densa doesn't shed the leaves. It might get dark depending on the amount of light that it's actually receiving. It might be filled with algae, look really messed up like what I shared with you in the wild. However, when washed off or picked, the algae cleaned off, it looks really awesome. Elodea Densa naturally gives off oxygen within the water space, so therefore your fish can actually survive with just this plant in it, without any bubbler, without any circulatory system, without any filtration system. This plant does wonders as far as oxygenation of your water space, right? This plant is cheap, and it can be you can actually order it on Amazon. I think it's probably about $2 something for a plant. In Jamaica you can actually get it at the local river, local waterways. They also sell it in the pet shop, but I tell you, the ones at the river looks good, but they are risk, because getting the ones at the river, you're actually getting some snails, and that snails can be pest at times. Now this has brought this documentary or video, whatever you call it, to an end. I know it has been really lengthy, but put all things together, that this video is something that is worth watching and sharing. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and as we go forward, it is hope that we will do more videos like this, so as to help you to understand the wonders of nature, the wild of nature, and how the inhabitants actually adapt, so as to be able to be symbiotic, you have a symbiotic relationship with nature. Peace out, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.